Mr. Fix-It with the Bed Shed Kilbeggan. Need a new bed or mattress? Our helpful and experienced team will be only too happy to guide you to the best choice for you. Find the Bed Shed on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, the energy credits are still the sore point. So give them to the people who need them, suggests one listener. They are being given out universally up until now. No targeting. Another listener points out €100 million was committed to Ukraine earlier this week in non-lethal military aid. So there clearly is money in the budget for different causes. And different listener says if there was a general election in the spring of 2026, then you can be absolutely sure the energy credits would have been retained. And Hilda making the argument for decoupling the gas price from the main price of electricity. So if cost of living budgets would work, then the first one would have solved it, she says. Now, let's park that particular frustration there for the moment and say hello to a different frustration. Brian Cloonan, how are you?
Top of the morning to you, Will. I liked your introduction earlier where you described me as Mr. Useful, and it reminded me of the Mr. Men books. So you had, Mr. Lazy and Mr. Blobby and all these misters. And I'm just wondering, if you were given a title, what would it be?
Mr. Sexy.
A couple. Yeah, that'd be in the comedy edit version.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think with the listeners should suggest, what
oh,
Mr.
God, no.
What Mr. You or your wife or Mr. Useless, Mr. whatever, could suggest an appropriate title for you. It's a glorious day. It's not a Will Faulkner day today. It's not dull, boring, and grey. It's just a glorious sunny day this morning.
Yeah, no cloud cover at all. A bit like you, no hair cover.
No cover, yes.
Next, let's get down to business.
Okay.
And he's here from Cloonan's Hardware in Tullamore, by the way, for your first-time listener. He's our DIY expert, and our first query is about a set of battery Christmas lights, which I want to place on 4 little shrubs just outside the front door. But now, when I look at the packaging, I've seen they can only be used inside. And having spent the money, I'm wondering, is there any way to make them outdoor proof?
Probably. You can't really give a guarantee in this. So normally the problem is not the lights. So, when you buy a set of battery operated lights, you have the lights and they're attached to a battery box. And generally the problem is that the battery box is not waterproof. So the big mistake, if you keep the battery box dry, the lights themselves, the little LED string of lights, is probably fine. Now, it's a probable. It depends on the quality, etc., but probably fine. So what I would suggest you do is, the big mistake people tend to make if they're putting battery lights in particular, or even a set of ordinary lights outside, they decide to put the battery pack in a plastic bag. And what always happens, invariably, is the plastic bag fills up with water. And once it fills up with water, be it battery or certainly if it's mains, if it's electricity, obviously that's really bad news. But with the battery pack, what you do is, rather than put them in a plastic bag and tie up the plastic bag, what you do is you put a plastic bag. So get it the smallest Ziploc bag you can get in the supermarket. You get quite a small, not much bigger than your phone. And you fit it down over the bag with the bottom of the bag open. So the top of the bag, if you were putting something into a bag, the open bit is at the top. Now you turn it upside down.
You don't say.
And you have the opening facing downwards. So it's like an umbrella, like a raincoat over the bag. But you're leaving it open so it doesn't fill up with water. And it's coming down over the top. So the water just runs off it. You're leaving it slightly open and you're cable tying that to the tree. So now, if on a wet day, the water hits the bag and just rolls off. And I would say...
I hate to say, but that's actually very logical and clever.
Yeah, so it's a 95% chance that they will be absolutely fine outside if you do that. If you're in the 5% bracket, what can I say? Sorry, but it'll probably work. Yeah, like she's bought them already. I wouldn't go out and buy a set of lights that aren't waterproof. It costs almost the same for the waterproof ones, or very little extra for the waterproof ones. So if you're buying them specifically for outside, get the ones that are waterproof. But when she's bought them already and she wants to try them and doesn't want to bring them back for whatever reason, well then I'd say definitely that'll almost certainly work.
Okay, next query is from Elaine in Portlaoise, who moved into her new house only a few months ago. Congratulations. and there are still a few stickers on the windows. Now, she's tried to take off the stickers and has largely succeeded, but there is still some residue, some glue left behind.
Yeah.
And washing up liquid has not done the trick.
So historically, we would have said that a Bohemian blade scraper, with the razor blade scraper that I often talk about, is a fantastic way for taking stickers off glass. But if the windows are quite new and if they have armour-plated glass in it, it seems strange, or hardened, not armour-plated, apologies, toughened glass is the word, sorry.
Yeah, not everybody is as unpopular as you are.
That I need to have armour-plated with glass in my windows, for the bullets. No, toughened glass, it always seems a contradiction to me, but seemingly toughened glass can get scratched very easily. Go figure. I mean, how does it make sense that if you make a glass extra tough, it gets scratched more easily? Seemingly it's a coating on the outside, and while it's, I don't know, it defies logic. I must look into it more.
I suppose the theory is if you kick a football at it, it's probably less likely to shatter.
Okay. Yeah, that's you're probably right, Will. Yeah, uncharacteristically spot on from you. So in that case, what you would use, there's a stuff called sticky stuff remover gel. The hardware trade is great. A lot of the names are quite sensible. So it's a spray-on gel, but it's rather than being a liquid that runs down the glass, it stays in place because it's a gel. And you can leave it there for about half an hour and then come back and just use a plastic scraper or a nylon scarring pad, and as a rule it'll take it all off, no problem whatsoever. But I'd always say to people, if you move into a house, the longer you leave it there, the longer it's getting sunlight in particular, the harder those stickers are to remove. So if you buy a new house, if you move into a new house, if you get new windows fitted, get them off as quickly as you possibly can, and they'll be much easier to remove.
How energetic are you feeling at the moment, by the
way? Not the least little bit.
Go on. So,
this is the problem with working 7 days a week at the moment. You see, my energy levels go through the floor. Now, in fairness, they're not great at the best of times. Well, I know, I never sit down, but I know they're low at the moment.
Well, amidst that little small violin playing in the background, you may have heard of Run with Will 2025. Yes, this coming Sunday, Lochborough Discovery Park. We're raising a lot of money, fingers crossed, touch wood, for two great causes, the autism classes in Birr and also for Offaly Hospice. And John Bennett and the team at the Lochborough Running Club are really excited, not just for the 5K, because with your gammy knee that won't work, but there will be a 1K family walk and you can dress up as Santa. Could you manage that possibly?
Well, you see, this is where you've given me the blatant opportunity to say Cloonan's Hardware, the best Christmas shop in Tullamore, will be open on Sunday and Cloonan will be working there on the day. So thanks for the free plug, Will.
Yeah, that'll draw a crowd. Stay there, Brian. It's 27 minutes to 11.
Thanks, Will.
Mr. Fix-It with a bed shed Kilbeggan. Quality, choice and value you can't beat. With over 80 beds, headboards and mattresses to suit all budgets. Find the bed shed on Facebook and Instagram.
Brian, we have a very hungry Santa. So he devours batteries. And I think you know where this is going.
Yeah, I didn't at the beginning. It didn't make sense, but now I think I probably understand. Yeah.
Well, in fairness, I think the man himself must have an appetite to get to the size that he is, and all the work that he has to do, and so on. But this particular Santa devours batteries because, unlike most modern Christmas items, he doesn't have a built-in timer. So the caller is asking, is it possible to get a timer for a battery-operated Christmas decoration?
No. Oh, actually, sorry, no. Do you know what you do here? You can get, so let's say your Santa uses 3 AA batteries. You can get a transformer pack. So it's a thing that you plug in and it has 3 batteries attached to a wire, and you put in the 3 batteries, and now instead of battery power, it's effectively running off the mains, but it's dropped down to the same voltage as the batteries. So you could leave it on the whole time and it wouldn't use, I'd say, euro's worth of electricity over the Christmas if you left it on the whole time, or if you only want it on, you can then, if you have a timer socket, you know, the old-fashioned timer socket with the dial on it, and you have it coming on at 4 o'clock and you have it turning off then at midnight or whatever.
Sorry, is that old-fashioned now, yeah?
Well, the old-fashioned one is the one with the disc timer, but it's still the simplest and most, you know.
Yeah, with the little pushy-in teeth on it.
Yeah. They're still available, and they're still the cheapest one around, and they still work.
I suppose they are old-fashioned compared with smart plugs these days.
Correct, exactly. Yeah, but to be honest with you, I think I'd just get the transformer and leave it on, because you'd spend €6 or €7 on a timer socket, and you won't save €6 or €7 in the next few years on your Santa, because if you just leave it on the whole time, it'll use next to nothing. And it's only, if it's, for argument's sake, 3 AA batteries, that's 4.5 volts. It's nothing. You won't use €1's worth of electricity between now and Christmas Day. So just get the transformer pack, put it in, and then you don't have to go near it again.
Okay, sold on that one. Now, our next text is disappearing. Do you ever have that happen? Where you go to do something and then it disappears on you. So we'll go in a different direction instead. We have a slow drip on the white pipe underneath the kitchen sink, says our next listener. So there's a bowl underneath it, and it is filling roughly once a week. I had considered getting a plumber, and I did make a few calls, but it's clearly not a job they're interested in. So, if I'm to take it apart, am I wise?
Well, I think what I'd probably I probably wouldn't take it apart, because, well, it depends how handy you are. If you are quite handy, you see, you may end up with a broken seal if you do take it apart, and then you'll have to take the whole thing off, and which is not the end of the world, and go into a plumbing shop and get a new one or get a new washer for it. And like, fairness to plumbers, like I have found with like, you know, I have phoned plumbers, electricians to do jobs, and if it's not time critical, you're not going to see them anytime soon, because as they come nearer to Christmas, everybody needs jobs done ASAP. And in fairness, a slow drip under the sink is not a priority for them.
No, I mean, I've had a slow drip coming into the station for 25 years.
I wondered 30 years to be clear now.
Oh, sorry, he's not that slow.
I wondered which one of us would jump on that. I said I'd give you a free kick on that one. There's a thing, what do they call it? I think it's called Fix Leaks for Good or something like that. It's an aerosol tin, like a tin of spray paint, but it sprays out like a silicone rubber, clear, that is really effective. It'll stick to a wet surface, and it gives a really good seal. And because a waste pipe, so your waste pipe under your sink is not under pressure. If you had a leak from the pipe going into the tap, that's under mains pressure, but it'll be spewing out because it's under a lot of pressure. And when you have a small little hole, it'll spew out water. But this is waste pressure. There's no pressure at all. This is wastewater. There's no pressure on it at all. So by spraying on the Fix a Leak for Good or whatever it's called, it's a clear, I forget who makes it, it's a clear silicone spray, and you could spray it. Now, the one thing I'd always say, if you go to your local filling station and you fill up with diesel or petrol, they'll often have blue hand paper there that you can wash your hands and clean off any diesel or petrol off your hands. Just take one sheet of that blue paper and wrap it around the waste pipe and turn on the tap. And now you'll see the blue paper will go dark where the leak is. Because the problem with a leak under a sink like that, people can see where the drip is coming from, but that does not mean it's where the leak is. The leak could actually be a foot away or 6 inches away, but it's always going to drip from the lowest point. So by wrapping this paper around the pipe, it'll go dark blue wherever the leak is, and now you know where to concentrate the spray. And I'd be shocked if that spray Fix a Leak for Good, whatever it's called, won't take care of the problem completely, and you'll never have to go near it again. And it's not affecting the plumbing in any way. If you had to get a plumber afterwards, it'll have made no difference to that whatsoever. And it's completely clear, you won't even know it's there.
By the way, a listener says, you don't have to take the full day off work to walk 1 kilometre for charity in Loughborough this Sunday.
I think Will said that.
No, it's there on WhatsApp. You can check it if you find your telescopic glasses and are able to read the screen. You're the boss, take an hour for lunch. A suggestion from Joe, back to the windows with a little bit of glue residue from the stickers. He finds methylated spirits to be very good at removing that residue.
It's brilliant, and it's a great way. We often mention it. It's a great way for cleaning glass anywhere, really. I use it. I have a bottle in the shop that I use for cleaning my glasses every morning, my specs. And we've mentioned before, it's a great way for cleaning your windscreen inside and outside. And many people add it to their windscreen wash for two reasons. One, to clean the glass, but two, it won't freeze. It mixes with water, but it will not freeze. And it's a great way. So it's
like an antifreeze. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's very effective. Really, really effective. Yep.
One more before we take a quick break. Jackie asks, what can you use to clip Christmas lights outside your front door?
Well, I always think the best way to do that by far is, so a lot of people now put a set of lights as a surround around the door. So you have two ways of doing it. I think the best way is, so if you imagine the door, you have the bottom, the top, and then over to the right-hand side, the top, the bottom. And that's the loop that you're making. You're making an arch shape around the door. So if you drill a little hole in the wall at the bottom, at the top right, top left, top right, bottom right. You have 4 little holes. If you have a drill, it'll only take you a couple of minutes. You put in a rawl plug, and then you put in either a little metal screw eye, like a cup hook, except it's closed, or even better, you can get plastic saddle mounts that are designed for cable ties. So you screw them in, and then you put a cable tie in, and then you run a line. You can run a line like a piece of string. If you can imagine this, you run a piece of string from the bottom to the top, across the top of the door, and then down to the bottom again. And you pull that nice and tight, and you tie it off. And now you just have a piece of string going the whole way around. And then you cable tie your lights. So you get a really crisp, straight line. Sometimes with lights, it's hard to get a nice, crisp, straight line. But the crisp, straight line is there from the string, and then you're just attaching your lights to that string. And then after Christmas, you just cut the string, take down the lights. You can take out the little screws that you've put into the cable tie mounts, or take out the screw eyes, leave the rawl plugs there, and no one will ever see them. And then next year, it's a 5-minute job. It's a 2-minute job, because you just put the screws back in and you have the whole thing done in jig time. So the only work this year is drilling 4 holes, and next year you don't even have to drill the 4 holes.
Simple. I like that.
Yeah.
Stay there, Brian, if you don't mind.
Sure.
After 11, the charity in County Laois that is not doing door-to-door collections, even though scammers want you to think otherwise. And you meet some of the possibly familiar faces around the Midlands who are going to be on the Late Late Toy Show later this week. Temperature in Athlone, 8 degrees.
Mr. Fix-It with the Bed Shed Kilbeggan. Need a new bed or mattress? Our helpful and experienced team will be only too happy to guide you to the best choice for you. Find the Bed Shed on Facebook and Instagram.
So, Cloonan, you know the way you're too lazy and too mean to come out, even for the hour, to Lochbora for Run with Will.
Well, it's funny. I just got a WhatsApp there from an Alex Faulkner suggesting that Mr. Lazy was the most appropriate Mr. Men name for you.
Yes, and Ms. Divorced could be the name for her. Anyhow, as I was saying, so if you happen to have some generosity in your bones, and you happen to be, let's say, a tradesperson, and you have a skill to share, well, 11:30 this morning, how a new scheme is being rolled out in the Midlands where you can actually donate some of your time in a very structured way. So, not everybody is as mean as you are. Fix a leak. So back to how these products are always doing what they say on the tin. Good, simple names.
Yes.
Fix a leak is used to repair leaks, oddly enough. And a caller is asking, would it be suitable for a shower that only occasionally seems to leak?
Well, it's a very thin liquid, so it depends how big the gap is. So on the waste pipe, it'll be very little. But yes, you could use it there. Now, what I'd always say is, if time is on your hand, and if you could well find it's only one wall that's a problem. So what you would do is turn on the shower and put it directly on the floor of the shower and leave it for 10 minutes on cold water and see have you a leak. And then turn it off again, and tomorrow do it on the left-hand wall, and then tomorrow, the next day, do it on the right-hand wall, and see, can you identify where the problem is. So very often what happens with a shower tray is that the silicone around the base of the tray has pulled away a little bit. So what you would do in that case is you would get some, it's very important that you use sanitary seal silicone, because it doesn't go black. If you use ordinary builder silicone, it goes black in no time. But what you do is you cut away as much of the old silicone as you can, and then you wipe everything down, believe it or not, with the methylated spirits, because it's a great degreaser, and then you re-silicone it with a sanitary seal silicone. But the big secret is fill 2 or 3 buckets or a plastic dustbin of water in the shower before you start. And the reason for that is that after you step out, like in your case, you want something to the equivalent of the 16 or 17 stone weight that when you step out is leaving the shower. And the water is the equivalent of a human body. So that keeps the shower tray in the position that you would like it to be when there's a human in there. And then when you're finished the following day, you can just empty the water down into the shower tray. And it's a great way of making sure that the tray is kept in the correct position while you're redoing it. But if it's a very fine leak, yes, the Fix a Leak would do that.
Let me assure you, I'll be a lot lighter after Sunday's run with Will.
For Jews.
Now, the next question, mould killer, Astonish, mould and mildew blaster. I have tried this and I find it very effective. Have you come across it?
Haven't come across that. So there's usually just 2 types of mold killer. One are chlorine based, which are really only designed to be used in showers, and there's various different ones out there. And then there's ones that are fungicide based that don't make the mold disappear, but they kill it. And if you're using those ones, you can reapply them afterwards as a preventative to stop it coming back. But the chlorine one doesn't really work like that. But
Christine has been in touch. She says she's your best spider customer.
Good
Anything we need to know?
Yeah, we sell spiders all the time. I think I remember Christine being in the shop and saying that she had she'd seen a large spider in her sitting room, and then she came out with the classic line, "But I've given that room over to the spider now." So she hadn't been back into that room in a week. I've given that room over to the spider. Yeah.
Next, from Nuala in Moat. Can you recommend a solution to clean grout in a kitchen around the cooker and sink where it's particularly greasy?
Yeah, so look, either a degreaser or a grout cleaner, they'll both do it. If you're getting the grout cleaner, don't get the spray one. It seems to make more sense that you'd use the spray one because it's easier to use, but because it's a spray, it can't be as strong, because you have to be so much more careful that the spray one doesn't get in your eyes, that you don't breathe it in. But you're far better, in my opinion, get the concentrated one. Don't spray the concentrated one. Just mix up a small amount, put it on with a paintbrush, give it 10 or 15 minutes to work, and then give it a scrub. And you will leave the grout very, very clean. And then, once you have it clean and once it's dry again, the secret is to use a grout sealer. So the problem with grout is it's very absorbent. It's really, so the tile obviously is a hard glazed surface that stays clean and is really easy to clean. But the grout's the exact reverse. The grout is an absorbent product that takes in it. When you wash it, you take all the dirty water and it soaks into the grout. So every splash of grease, every time you drop something in the sink and the water splashes up, it absorbs into the grout. So by giving it a clear grout sealer, it leaves it that it doesn't get dirty as quickly at all. It just stays clean for so much longer.
The old saying, prevention is better than cure.
Correct and right, Will.
That's where we must leave it. Brian, thank you.
Thanks as always.
You can find him at Cloonan's Hardware in Tullamore, and you can find David Hollywood in this seat after 11.